Hello. Have you ever noticed that there are a ton of real estate agents who have ADHD?
Cute barking dog for ironic effect.
Have you ever noticed that there are a ton of real estate agents that have ADHD and drinking problems? But we are not getting into that. We are talking about ADHD in this video, why I think it's such a wonderful career for, I just said ADHD was a wonderful career. Why being a real estate agent is a wonderful career for someone with ADHD or potentially different types of neurodiversity. But most of the video, I want to focus on like tips and tricks, things that I use, things you might not be aware of that could potentially help you in your business, and basically how I make sure that my ADHD does not affect me negatively. It does not affect my clients. It does not damage my business, how I stay productive and just make everything work. So if you're new here, my name is Sarah Mesley. I'm a full-time real estate broker and realtor in San Diego, California. I would love if you subscribe to the channel. And I have been selling properties for 15 years. I'm with Real Broker. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them below and let's get started. So first, why I love this career for someone who has ADHD. Now, I don't know about you, but I need variety in my life. So prior to working in the real estate industry, I had a few different jobs. Now, keep in mind, I've been in this for 15 years, so I didn't have a ton of jobs before this. But when I graduated from college, I worked in a hospital. My hours were 9 to 5, and although there's some variety in the hospital, there's not a lot. I have a degree in nutrition, by the way. And then I worked in a fitness studio, and then I worked for the state government. When I worked for the state government, I literally worked in a cubicle from 9 to 6 and wanted to, I can't say that on YouTube, we'll say leave. Really, I was really dissatisfied. The people were nice, so it was nothing about that. It was like I felt like I wasn't free. So there's a lot of freedom, I think, in the real estate industry. Now, we have to be careful that we don't abuse that, because if we take that freedom to the extreme and we're like, I'm gonna watch TV all day, of course we're gonna not make any money. But what I like about the real estate industry is that it is different every day. Every day when I look at my weekly schedule, it's different. I have a listing appointment on Monday in Encinitas, and then on Tuesday I'm showing properties in North Park, and then on Wednesday I've got a closing and I'm giving gift to someone in Oceanside. Like, it's constantly all over the place. I get to go to a variety of different places and meet a variety of different people, and that just keeps me mentally stimulated, and I love it. It's also a career that does not require a college degree, and while that is something that causes people to make fun of me online on different platforms, I think that's actually a really good thing. If you want to get a college degree, get a college degree. If you want to go to a field that requires a college degree, good for you. But also, we have to understand that going to college is incredibly expensive. People are taking insane amounts of student loans out these days. And for me personally, as a parent, I'm going to support my children in whatever they do decide, whether that's going to college or not. And I think being a real estate agent is a phenomenal option for someone who cannot or does not want to go to college, because it's still a great way to have a full-time career and potentially make a lot of money. It's a wonderful option. It's how I've been supporting my family for 15 years. Now let's get into some tips and tricks and just how I make everything work. They're going to be from the super narrow, like very detailed things, to really broad ideas that might be helpful to you. Let's start with something that's like a little detail. So when it comes to your email, you can set the recall settings to be a different time frame than the standard. So what do I mean by that? Have you ever sent an email and then gone, oh my gosh, I sent that to the wrong person. I should not have included them in this, or I cannot believe I accidentally said that. I need to unsend this fast. And then you're like rushing and you're stressed. Well, my previous recall setting was 5 seconds. So I had only 5 seconds to recognize that I sent it to the wrong person, and then to find the button and click it and be like, unsend. 5 seconds did not cut it for me. And it's not like it was a common practice. I've more so done it a few times in my personal life where I sent something to the wrong person, but I changed that to 30 seconds, which is actually a long time. So it's funny now, because when I'm sending something, like I'm sending an offer and I see the clock like ticking down at the top and it says like it's like 30 seconds, I'm like, go, you can send. But I also think that's a nice option for me to just be able to be like, take my time, double, triple check everything, make sure everything is perfect. And I don't know, it's something that you might want to consider on your email. Tip number 2 is going to be avoid brick and mortar offices when it comes to the brokerage that you hang your license at, or at least see if you have the option to work from home. Now, you may completely disagree with me on this one, and that's fine if you do, but let me just explain why. Let me explain my position. I find that the office environment really fosters water cooler talk, which can be fun, but it's really not beneficial if you want to focus, if you have deadlines, if you have things to do. When I went into the office, we had a typical real estate office will often have like shared workspaces. You are often not getting a private room unless you're a mega top producer or you're paying a desk fee. So keep in mind they're shared. They're going to have, computer next to computer next to computer. If you want to go in there and record videos like they're going to encourage you to do, then you have everybody around looking at you. And yeah, they may be like, good for you. They may be cheering you on, but like, for me personally, it's awkward. I'm not trying to talk into my phone while other people are staring at me. It makes me very uncomfortable. The same goes for phone calls. Let's say you're going there to prospect and you are dialing for sale by owners or expired listings. You have other people hearing that. Again, some people may say that that's a good thing. Oh, this is going to motivate you. Maybe for someone without ADHD. Me personally, I don't like that. I want to have my privacy, but it's not just a pride thing, it's an actual focus thing. I can tell you personally, I have a rule with my family about not coming into the office while I'm on a phone call. It's not because I don't love them. They totally understand. I love them. I want to spend time with them. But even the simplest, a person walking in when I'm on a phone call with someone will completely throw me off track to what I was saying, and to the point where I've had a couple times over the years where I was very embarrassed because I knew exactly what we were talking about. We were talking about a topic that I'm extremely familiar with, something like what is our inspection time frame, and someone came in and I was like, I'm sorry, what was I saying? And it was, yeah, that just doesn't fly for me. So going back to the office environment, I found myself to be not productive at all there because I didn't have that freedom and that focus, like of being able to drown out noises and feel like I was alone and could just throw myself into my work. And then, of course, people wanted to talk and they wanted to talk about their weekends, and which is all nice, but I think there's a time and place for that. Maybe that's better for in the evening at a happy hour after work is done. So, yeah, no, not for me. I am a cloud-based brokerage person. If you want to talk about Real Broker, by the way, comment below or send me a message. I'm very happy with Real Broker. That's where I hang my license now. As I continue to work from home, I can really focus on the trainings that we have. I can watch the trainings online whenever I want to. I can get broker support whenever I need. And, again, I have this routine of having my focus in my office with the door closed. And there are times where I'm also putting headphones on, even while it's, nobody's in the room with me, or maybe they are, and I'm putting headphones on. For me personally, I like to listen to either something relaxing like a binaural beats or a song, and I'll choose a certain song and I'll listen to it over and over and over and over because that helps me focus. I don't know why. The third tip is to hire help if you need it. There are definitely going to be some people that are I do everything myself, I will never hire anyone to do a job that I can do type people. But I am really of the mindset that we should all specialize in what we specialize in. So maybe you in your business, maybe you're the rainmaker. That is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you are the person that goes out and gets business and you talk to your buyers and sellers, but maybe you're not the most organized when it comes to your paperwork, your disclosures. Maybe you want to, at minimum, hire a transaction coordinator. I think that is an excellent idea, and I don't think it's a disservice to your clients. I think it is actually a service to your clients because you're still the main point of contact, but now you're making sure that there's no errors. Keep in mind, if you're doing something that you feel like you don't specialize in, there's likely to be errors. So do what you are phenomenal at and hire help where you need it. Tip number 4 is, a couple things pertaining to driving and showing buyers properties. The first thing is, don't put buyers in your car. That is not only like an ADHD recommendation, that is a safety recommendation, that is a brokerage recommendation, that is an insurance recommendation. So it's 2024 right now. If you're still driving buyers around, stop that immediately. I know there are some buyers with an old school mindset that, I didn't mean to go like that, but with an old school mindset that will be like, well, why waste the gas? I don't want to drive behind you. Well, because it's against brokerage policy and my insurance will go up and it's not safe, and I don't know you, sometimes, right? It's a safety thing as well. But also for me, I found that it was a focus thing. Even many years ago, when I first got into the industry, it was still relatively standard to drive your buyers around. And I did not like, nothing personal, but I did not like having the buyers have these conversations while I'm driving and focusing on the directions, because I really do want to focus on not only where I'm going, but safety. It's a huge deal for me. So I have found that there were times where a buyer would be like, so, what was the last sale price of this specific neighborhood? And I'm like doing a right turn and there's like pedestrians, and I'm like, hold on, I'm trying to not hit a pedestrian, respectfully. But I really want to have great conversations with my clients. I want to give them all of my focus. I want to give them excellent answers. And so I have found that the best way to do that is for me to focus on driving, meet them at the property, look them in the eye, and be able to say, what are other questions do you have? I have all the time in the world for you. I can answer any questions that you have. I can help guide you on this, that, because I'm focusing on them. I think that's a great thing. Also, if you're someone that is incredibly distracted by driving and you find it difficult even just to show buyers properties, I mean this like truly respectfully, if it's overwhelming when you're like have a schedule of like showing 3 or 4 or 10 properties, you may want to even consider hiring a driver or enlisting a loved one to do the driving for you so that you can focus on the paperwork. Because let's be honest, it is overwhelming for anyone sometimes. Let's say we have 10 properties. They're all scheduled for different times, but then our client is late. So now we're already late, but then this one is owner occupied and they only have a certain time that we can see it, but then this one needs to be last, but then this one has extra traffic on the way. Like there's already a lot to focus on in coordinating. Sometimes this one wants extra notice. They want me to text them when they leave, but then, there's so much to remember. So whatever helps you get the job done and do it right. And if that's hiring a driver, then hire a driver. Tip number 5 is to use a calendar, whether it's the calendar on your phone, use it religiously, put all of your appointments on it, but also utilize technology in different ways. So for me personally, I am constantly putting phone reminders. I'm just saying, hey Siri, remind me at 5 o'clock to call Bob. Hey Siri, remind me at 6 in the morning to do a market analysis and send it to Susie. Because yes, I can have them in my calendar, but if I get in a conversation with someone else or whatever, I don't want to forget anything. So I have my phone with me constantly. I'm always looking at my phone, and when that reminder pops up, I usually don't need it, but I feel comfortable having that backup, God forbid, so that I never forget anything. So use Hey Siri or use the little button if you need. The next tip is to plan to arrive early to every appointment. I think it's always better to be early than it is to be late. For me, I would be extremely stressed if I was running late. I don't think it looks professional at all, and I'd much rather get to a property early, sit outside, catch up on some work, or even read a book, do whatever you need to do. But I would say when you're planning your timing, look at traffic and then add an extra half hour, whatever it is that you need to do so that you are positive that you will never be late. The last tip that I have for you today is about scripting. Now, I know some people don't like scripting because they feel like it sounds scripted. It shouldn't. That's a problem. The reason that I like scripting, especially for new agents, but really for anybody, it is not so that you can sound like a robot. I know personally, I hate it when I get a phone call and it's like, hello, Sarah, how are you today? And I'm like, who are you? Why are you asking how I am today? And it's like, the reason that I'm calling Sarah is because Sarah, and it's like, ew, that's just gross. Yeah, so don't do that. But let me tell you why I think scripting is really beneficial. It doesn't mean that I want you to memorize the entire listing presentation word for word, but I want you to pick up on key phrases that you feel confident using and that you feel really do apply and are truly you. And this is what happened when I was a new agent. I started working under a small real estate firm that was essentially just me and then 2 broker attorneys. And I learned a lot from them, maybe not as much as I would if I was at like a large cloud-based brokerage, because I would have had access to like trainings and systems and things like that. But I have to give credit where credit is due, and I learned a ton from one attorney in particular, from going to her appointments and hearing how she said and what she said. And so I picked up on key phrases that I truly believe with my heart. Maybe I wouldn't say everything that she said, but I would pick up on phrases, I would internalize them, put my own spin on them and my own tone on them, And now, where appropriate, whenever I have an appointment with a certain person and that applies, I'll work that into the conversation because I feel like it's important. That could be anything from a phrase like no amount of marketing will overcome the wrong price. If you're talking to someone about, not pricing their home too high, maybe you're in your buyer consultation and you're just explaining the escrow process. And instead of like going, next, what do I say now? I'm not sure. Just like having your buyer consultation, which I actually sell a packet, a buyer consultation kind of like booklet that I use, and that kind of has the key points, and I just look at the point and I'll just say everything. It's just a bullet point, an outline, if you will. Maybe I would come to the earnest money deposit section and I would say a typical earnest money deposit is 1 to 3% of the purchase price. That's negotiable. A lot of times we'll start at 1% because I want to not lock up too much of your money unless we have to. So let's say, for example, a $500,000 purchase, that means you've got to have at least $5,000 ready and available in the bank because it is due by the 3rd business day. Does that work for you? Something like that, but that was 100% scripted. I mean, maybe not 100%. I'll have slight variations on it every time, but the key point here is not to wing it, is to practice things. So it may not have to be a script that you bought from one of the big coaches. Maybe it's your own script that you practice over and over, because a lot of times we're going to be having the same conversations over and over, explaining the process to our buyers, explaining what to expect to our sellers. So my tip here is not so much scripting as it is to be prepared. Now, what questions do you have? I would love to hear what you personally do, like any tips that you have that help you remain productive in your business. Let me know below. And yeah, as always, if you have any questions about real estate, if you're looking to buy or sell in San Diego, or if you're thinking about joining Real Broker or looking for a cloud-based brokerage, just send a message or put a comment below, and have a great day. Thank you for watching.